Hello, welcome to my channel. This is Jennifer and this is a knitting podcast. I am based here in Melbourne where it is still winter for the rest of this month. So there's lots of cozy knitting going on and lots of new projects to share with you. I am interested in knitting sustainably, which means I use a lot of free patterns as well as a few paid for patterns and patterns out of knitting books that I've purchased. I also try to use yarn that is either from my stash or is secondhand or locally made, and if that interests you then keep on watching. I have quite a few projects to share with you today. Let's start with what I'm wearing. This is a scrappy sweater that I made from yarns that were in my stash, but also some that were purchased in New Zealand where we went on holiday earlier this year. I used a free pattern called Warm Up Sweater by Espace Tricot. I knit the smaller size, but I used the recommended needles and I did a gauge swatch. So most of this yarn that I've used is held double. It's about an average of about a DK weight held double. So I did do a swatch and I did measure my gauge, which told me that I would need to make the smaller size to get the size that I wanted. It didn't turn out exactly as I wanted. It is a bit tight around the shoulders, which is okay because it feels tight when you put it on, but as soon as it sort of warms up to your skin, the wool becomes really comfortable. The sleeves are a little bit shorter than I prefer, but that's sort of the nature of a scrappy sweater and adds to the character of it, I think. It is a little bit cropped, which I like. And yeah, so I did do a swatch and I haven't measured it, but it is a little bit tighter than I wanted it to be. So it doesn't have a lot of bagginess or positive ease. And I think that's because I wasn't using the recommended yarn and I was holding it double, which made the fabric thicker, which means, I think it just means that it's just tighter overall, even if I achieved the correct, or I calculated the gauge, the correct gauge. Anyway, it was a lesson for sure. Lots of learnings to be had. So if I use a thicker yarn, I need to account for that and make a bigger size next time. I originally was wanting to make also a folded down sweater. A folded down neckline like that, and just sew it down at the end. But because it's a little bit tight and it kind of looks nice, it feels like more of like a mock neck sweater, so mock neck neckline. Yeah, my words. I am a little bit sleep deprived, but that's okay. That's life with little kids. So yeah, that is my warm-up sweater and I'm so happy I finished it. It was just nice to really satisfying to have like a whole bag of like scrap yarns and balls of like yarns I really love, like of course this tweedy yarn in like a nice sort of cohesive colorway, I would say. There's a few bits where I held some double and mulled two different colors together, as you can see here and here. Yeah, so satisfying to see that big bag of yarn like slowly shrink down and turn into this sweater. So yeah, I highly recommend if you have a lot of different coloured yarns, it doesn't even have to be in the same sort of colour family like this, to just find a free pattern on Ravelry and see just like the shape like that you like and then use them to stripe together. I did have a lot of ends, obviously, with all the stripes, but I used the weave and Steven method, so I weaved them in as I went. So I don't know if I can show you. No, they're all at the back. I think all my ends are at the back. So they're all sort of woven in, and I haven't even trimmed off the ends yet, but it means I didn't have to weave in a lot of ends at the end of the project. So yeah, that's just how I did it, and I feel like it'll sort of like felt in and stick in together as I wear the sweater more. But yeah, it's been really warm because it's quite a thick fabric, and great for layering, putting under like a coat or a jacket. And yeah, highly recommend doing a scrappy sweater to de-stash because it uses up a lot of yarn, and holding it double also uses it up really quickly. If that's what you're into, really nice and perfect for Melbourne winter. So that is my first finished object. I do have another finished object that just needs blocking. Oh yes, did I mention with this, it did feel even more tight before I blocked it. After I blocked it and stretched it out a bit, it became the right size for me. So this is my second finished object. It is the Snowflakes Slouchy Beanie by Julie Paz, and it is another free pattern that I found on Ravelry. Really satisfying colour work. Looks even better on the screen because of the contrast. And it has a very wide brim. I did the larger size where you cast on 120 stitches because I used a yarn that was DK weight, and I used not the recommended needle sizes. I think I used a 3.5mm for the brim, and then a 4mm for the, no, maybe 4mm for the brim and 4.5mm. Yeah, that's right. For the colour work and the hat portion. The yarn I used was the yarn I found at the op shop, or the thrift shop. It's called Savers here in Melbourne, and I got about 2 to 3 balls, about 100 grams each, for $5 each, and it's the Czech Heat and Country Naturals. So it's a 100% woolen yarn, Australian wool. And yeah, it's really nice to see that because it's usually mainly acrylic yarns that you find at the op shop. So yes, instead of using up the little energy that I have these days because I'm so sleep deprived to find suitable yarns, I just use this new yarn that I got at the op shop. And the purpose of this hat is to be in a Christmas in July KK for a party that we have coming up. So I wanted to make it nice and big and slouchy so that a woman or a man could wear it. Anybody can wear it. And I really like the look of it. I'm not going to make a pom-pom because I don't like making pom-poms. I'm not good at them. It's actually really nice. If no one wants it, I'm going to have to get it for myself. But yes, I think it does need a bit of a blocking. The baby is crying, so hubby is gonna go get her. Okay. This is, yeah, really nice pattern. Highly recommend. It's very well written. It's very easy to follow. And it's a nice sort of semi-mindless knit. The colour work is quite simple. And really nice, really wintry. I love the design. This is exactly what I was looking for, just a simple snowflake hat design. And I think it would be nice in the smaller size too if you want less of a slouchiness. The pattern is for worsted weight yarn, but I use DK weight as I said, and it's perfectly fine. So yeah, that is that beanie. I have woven in the ends, but I will block it and then cut off the ends because that is my process. Should I wear this for the rest of the video? And nah. Okay, because I might get hot filming. The next work in progress, I have a lot of works in progress because I have gotten them all to, or well, the sweaters at least, to a stage where I can just knit stockinette. So when I start work, I can just knit and just do the body and the sleeves, and then I'll be done. So continuing my theme of using up scrap yarns, I bought a load of somebody's stash from Facebook Marketplace that she was selling because she could no longer knit. Her hands were not allowing her to knit anymore, so she had a lot of vintage yarns. And in my knitting vlog, if you want to see more sort of knitting content, my last knitting vlog with the vintage Aussie yarns haul, you can see some of them there. But I picked out the purple bag because she had kindly color coded all the yarn for me. So this is the bag with some of the yarn in it. And I casted on a Nordstrand sweater, a free pattern by Filcolana, because I was feeling a bit of colour work and I wanted something comfy and oversized, and this is where I'm at. So I finished the body with the colour work design. I think it has a turtleneck in the original pattern, but again I want to try to do a folded down neckline, so I'm going to sew this down at some point. I think this is the back. Yeah, it's got short rows at the back. And I think it'll be like a nice comfy oversized sweater because it does look quite big. I'm knitting the size large, I think size number 3, just to make it really oversized, which it looks like it will be. Again, the contrast on the screen is so nice. So I'm using all the different purples. I'm just sort of switching the colour as I go down. As the ball runs out, I just pick up a new ball of yarn. Hopefully I will have enough for a whole big sweater. Maybe what I'll do is I'll keep knitting on the body for a bit, knit the sleeves, and then use the rest of the yarn for the body. But yeah, it's a nice, I was thinking with this sort of multicolored purple sweater, I wanted a sort of bold colorwork motif in white to tie it together and to create sort of a focal point so that it doesn't seem as much of a scrappy sweater. So that is why I made this one. I have mostly 12 ply, so I think like a worsted weight yarn in the purple. In the white, I actually held it double. I don't know if you can see, there's maybe like a DK weight strand of a creamy, almost pink toned white held with a very thin fingering weight bright white with a bit of silver running through it. So I held that thin silver through the whole portion of the colourwork, but at the very bottom, you can probably see here, I ran out of the creamy white, so I had to switch to a bright white. But again, it's a scrappy sweater, there's lots of different purples going through it. I don't think it will make a huge difference visually. So yeah, I think it will make a really nice sweater, and I think it is also a great way to use up odd ends of balls you have around, or if you like thrifting or going to op shop to buy yarn, I think it's a great way to use up that sort of yarn and make it into a sweater. I'm just really loving this sort of vibe at the moment with like different colours, using up what we have, using up things that already exist in the world. That's sort of the vibe and the mindset that I'm sort of in at the moment. I guess I've been watching documentaries about plastic and the amount of plastic in the world, and also watching YouTube videos about over-consumerism, and yeah, I just want to try to be a bit more mindful about what I'm using to make my craft, because it gives so much back to me, creatively wise, is that a phrase? and yeah, it's just so calming and relaxing for me mentally. I also wanted to take into account how I could do this craft and keep doing it for the rest of my life sustainably, and yeah, that's sort of where I'm at and why I have so many sort of scrappy projects. And I wanted to share these ideas so that maybe you could use them too. But yeah, let me know if you have any thoughts about knitting sustainably and the things you might be doing, the ideas that you might have. I'd love to know. So yeah, so that is one sweater, and yeah, I'm just up to the body so I can separate for the sleeves soon and just knit away on that. So the next one I have in progress is, should I show you this one? This is a teaser. I'm going to show you my Barbie cardigan. So I did also have a bag of pink yarns with a lot of mohair type fibers in it, and so I started this cardigan. I've never done a cardigan before, as in my own design. This has stalled a little bit. It's just so fluffy. The mohair's just like so fluffy. But yes, I'm doing it, trying to do this sort of lurker bagger style, and just marling all of my yarns together. As you can see, the colours are actually really satisfying. Maybe I should keep working on this. This will be one of the panels, the front panels of the cardigan. I really have no idea what I'm doing, to be honest, but I really love the colours. I really love the pinks, and I love this multicolour pink in there too. And it's just going. I don't really have much to say about this because I'm just making it up as I go along. The yarn is really fun. I'm using 6mm needles, I believe. No, maybe not 6mm, maybe 7mm. Pretty chunky. Doesn't really matter because I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah, so that is a pink cardigan that is in progress because, you know, Barbie fever and scrappy yarn fever. But yeah, that is very fluffy. So fluffy. I have like one of those sticky garment rollers in there because it is just fluff central. Okay, the next one I have, which I picked up before, is my Paloma sweater. I'm using the recommended needle size. This is 4.5mm. I have separated for the sleeves. This is a pattern by Espace Tricot, and looks like it has something, not sure what that is. And it's really cute, really simple, just has a little detail going down the arms, and now I'm up to the body. I am using Bendigo Woolen Mills Luxury 8-ply. It is a bag of yarn that I got of mill ends from the Bendigo Woolen Mills back room in Bendigo, about a 2-hour drive away from Melbourne. 2 hours? Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I'm knitting the size 2, I believe. And this is going to be a very nice all-purpose layering. I'll probably wear it with this folded down, to be honest. But yes, nice layering piece, very neutral, very work-friendly, not so scrappy, but still very calming. And using up the mill ends, it'll be satisfying to see how many balls I can use from the big bag. I think it was like about 700-800 grams in that bag. But yeah, the backroom mill ends are sold by the kilo, and it was about $50 per kilo of yarn, which is a steal for 100% wool, I think. So yes, I'm very excited to use this up and keep knitting on the sweater. And that is it for the sweaters that I have on the needle. I think I have shown this in a knitting blog. This is the Selena shawl by Stephanie Ibb, and I think she is of Espace Tricot as well. But this is a pattern I am using from a book that I purchased, 52 Weeks of Shawls or Scarves, but it is also a free pattern on Ravelry, so if you're interested in making it, I am really loving this. It is, oh poor baby, it is a really nice shawl. I'm really excited to wear it. I'm using this ball of yarn with 6mm needles, Bendigo woolen meals, 14 ply oat fleck, 50% wool, 27% acrylic, 20% alpaca and 3% viscose. And I feel like the alpaca makes it really nice and drapey and soft. Nice little flecks of colour in there too. So I'm very excited to use this ball up. And I think with the leftovers I make like tassels for the end of it. So this has been nice, relaxing knit when I want to do some cables. And I do have a few socks on the needles, but one's just a vanilla sock and one is the Hollywood socks, which I haven't made much progress on, which is a colourwork sock, so I won't update you on those. This is a new shawl that I cast on. It is the Changing Staircases shawl by Tristan Molina, I believe. It is a free pattern on Ravelry and I'm using up a ball of sock yarn. I have about 80 grams left of this. It is a Bendigo Woolen Mills sock yarn. I think it's in the colour Autumn Leaves or Fallen Leaves or something like that. So yes, I have already made a mistake, but I am knitting this along, and another friend of mine is knitting this as well, and she has made a mistake, but we're choosing to keep moving forward. We're choosing to not think about it too much, and just keep knitting, right? This is going to be a present, but it's a shawl, so I'm sure they won't notice the mistake. But yeah, I'm excited to finish this. And that is all I have. Mum duties are calling. I see a baby looking right at me and smiling. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for joining me while I showed you all the projects that I have on the needles. I'm very much looking forward to lots of mindless stockinette and looking forward to updating you when I have some more finished objects. I hope you have a fabulous day and I will see you in the next video.